Hey everyone, this is David, Fairly Secret Music. Today I'm going to do two things in this video. One is reviewing this Flotsam Jetsam album called The End of Chaos. And the other one is hopefully to start a thread, which may have happened at some point before in the vinyl community, but think of the big four in an alternate universe. So, first of all, Flotsam Jetsam, End of Chaos. Was I expecting this album to be this good? No. Was I absolutely blown away? Yes. The reason I wasn't expecting it to be this good is I didn't know if I was going to be in the mood. I went to get the new Rival Sons CD, and I picked up this one because I had seen it a week or two ago, and I thought, you know what, I should get that. And I have listened to Rival Sons once. I have listened to this 4 times or 5 times all the way through. I've listened to the first song, Prisoner of Time, probably like 8 or 9 times. The drums sound amazing. They have Ken Mary on drums now. He's a guy from Fifth Angel, House of Lords, Alice Cooper. Just amazing drummer. The production on the drums is so cool and natural. You can actually tell that he's actually hitting bass drums rather than triggers and stuff. The bass is really up front in there, but not too overpowering, and the guitars are thick and crunchy, but not the brick wall of sound that we get with most modern production. And last but not least, Eric AK's voice is just astonishing. It's amazing. A guy who's been in this band for 30 some years. I don't know, their first album came out in 86. So that's 33 years of being in Flotsam and Jetsam. His vocals are so good. Yes, he's not doing the higher screams, but he's doing the little, like, kind of like, I guess I would call them like the squeaks, I don't know, where just the way he does vocals has always been so much more appealing to me than like Tom Araya or Dave Mustaine or James Hetfield. Of the big four, Anthrax are my favorite, just because of Joey Belladonna's voice. But yeah, this album is so good. Right now, if I was going to give it on a 10-star rating, I don't like 5-star ratings because then that means 5 and a 2 are just like 3 points away from each other. Out of 10, right now I'd probably give it a 9.5. It's so good. It was such a surprise and so refreshing to hear metal production that is done right finally. So that is it for the review. Check this album out. It's just amazing. Big four in an imaginary universe, or an alternate universe, I should say. If you want to do a thread response, let me know who your big four was, and let me know in the comments. First, I'm going to talk about the bands that were kind of, what do you call that? Honorable mention. I really love Power Mad's album, Absolute Power, but they only have one album, Dark Angel. I only really like the 2 albums with Ron Reinhardt on them. And Metal Church, like the Blessing in Disguise era with Steve Howe, I thought was awesome. But I don't dig all of those bands' things. So Flotsam and Jetsam would be my first imaginary or alternate universe big four. Some highlights for them is No Place for Disgrace. They have Troy Gregory on bass, awesome. He was also on When the Storm Comes Down. This is an awful cover, but an amazing album. It is my favorite Flotsam and Jetsam album. Um, a lot of people got into Quattro or maybe Drift, but this album alone makes them be available for being in my big four. I love that album. Later stuff, they have a lot of albums. I'm just not going to go through all of them. So, Flotsam and Jetsam, first band. Second band, Forbidden. And not even for this album, actually. The album that really gets them into it is Twisted Into Form. This album is so good. Infinite, Out of Body, just the vocals alone are just worth it. But then you got Paul Bustoff, who is playing such awesome parts, using closed hi-hat on double bass sections, which I'd never heard before. Russ just doing soaring vocals every once in a while. Just awesome. And this also has a song called Tossed Away on it. I saw them on this tour. I've never seen Flotsam and Jetsam though. Hopefully this year. Distortion was another great album that they did that I saw them on that tour. They also did Green, where they stepped up the bass and kind of got groovier. And then Omega Wave. I saw them on this tour also. Amazing stuff. You can see that Russ's vocals are getting a little bit more aged, but yeah, that's the one band I will go through all their stuff for. The next band in my big four, Overkill. This is the album that I think blows every Overkill album away. You had the first two, Fuck You and Feel the Fire, and then Taking Over. I think In Union We Stand was the first song after Fuck You that I actually heard. But Under the Influence was the first one that like really grabbed me. And Horoscope is an awesome album. Coma is awesome. Also, on these three albums, Sid Falk steps up the drum game, and he's more of a metal drummer, tons of double bass rather than Rat Skates. Rat Skates was kind of punkier. So Overkill would definitely be in my big four. And last but not least, Voivod. Because they were so unique, so different. You know, these two albums are so thrashy. So, I mean, when I think of thrash, this is kind of what I think of, you know, is these like raw thrash. I mean, like early era thrash. All these other bands were kind of after the fact, you know, or I guess stepped up the thrashy sound and honed it. I guess honing is the word. This album, Forgotten in Space, is where they just totally take it to a different dimension or a different level or whatever. And then, yes, Dimension, because Dimension Hatros. This is kind of like their last really thrashy thing. This is pretty thrashy, and I guess it's your definition of what thrash is, because Metallica, you know, always didn't sound super thrashy. But this is kind of like their last really thrashy thing. And, you know, because they do Angel Rat, and I've shown all these on another video. But the newer album, this was my favorite album of 2018, The Wake. And yeah, so my big four, Voivod, Overkill, Forbidden, and Flotsam and Jetsam. Let me know what your big four is, and tell me why you love them. I mean, I love Voivod because of the singing, the weird kind of guitar playing. I love Overkill because of just the sheer just like power of that band, and they still have it. I think I'm gonna look into later Overkill. I know a lot of people say Testament should be on this list. No, I'm not really a big fan of Chuck Billy's voice. I might try some like The Gathering, or some of their later stuff, but kind of everything sounds the same with that band. Same with Exodus, and I never really liked Exodus as singers. But Forbidden had Paul Bustaph on drums and Russ's vocals. Flotsam, the whole band is just amazing, but Eric AK's vocals just blow me away. That's why these four bands, I think, deserve more credit than they have ever gotten. And I think everybody should check them out, especially if you haven't checked them out. I know somebody who I told to listen to the new Flotsam and Jetsam, and he's like, oh my gosh, is that what they sound like? And I'm like, dude, it's been like 30 years. Why haven't you listened to this band yet? He said he is going to totally listen to them because he loved the song that I sent him. Yeah, so if you want to continue a thread, do the Big Four alternate universe thread. And let me know if you do a video. And I hope to hear from you. And I hope you like this video. See you next time.